Broadcasts of HIKI No are made possible by the support of viewers like you. Mahalo. And by Bank of Hawaii Foundation, investing in Hawaii's future by promoting collaboration, critical thinking, and other 21st century skills through HIKI No.
I'm Lexi Ayers.
I'm Seth Hamilton.
I'm Alex Miyashiro.
I'm Randy Williams, and this is Star. And we're coming to you from the campus of Konawaena High School, located on the slopes of Mauna Loa.
Home base for today's episode of HIKI No, the nation's first statewide student news network.
HIKI No means can do, and you'll see just what our team of schools can do.
This episode's team is made up of intermediate and high schools from 4 islands. From Molokai, there's Molokai High School.
On Oahu, we have Waianae High, Roosevelt High, and Wheeler Middle School.
From Maui, there's Lahaina Intermediate and HP Baldwin High School in Wailuku.
From Hawaii Island, we'll hear from Waiakea High and Kea'au High.
And of course, Konawaena, home to Wildcats.
On this show, you'll hear from diverse voices across the island chain,
Telling stories that connect communities.
On HIKI No.
Can do.
Before we introduce our first story, we'd like to recognize the grant organizations that made HIKI No a reality.
They believed Hawaii could create the nation's first statewide student news network.
They put their faith in us and said, can do. To them, we say mahalo.
Now, on with the show.
We are here on the Konawaena complex, which sits on 64 acres and graduated its first class in 1925. Though Konawaena has changed throughout the decades, it still remains the jewel of the Kona Coast. Our first story comes from Waianae High School on Oahu. On July 24th, the teachers of Hawaii took a 5% pay cut, reduced coverage of health benefits, and 7 furlough days. For 2 teachers, the career they thought was a whole number had become only an estimate.
Somebody from table...
Brent Yamagata is a math teacher at Waianae High School. His wife Lehua also teaches math at Moanalua Middle.
Look at you, boy!
These 2 educators have to divide their incomes to solve the problem of raising a family.
How'd you do that?
Along with their 3 boys, they spend most of their afternoons enjoying each other's company and playing the occasional video game.
Just lounging around the house. I just enjoy seeing my boys play together.
I already bought 2 non-fiction books.
Shade, Rain, and Blaze provide enough work at home for the Yamagatas. But it's their job at school that has become a struggle for the whole family.
Right? There's like a gap.
Because of the imposed contracts, teachers now suffer from a 5% pay cut. This subtraction equates to over $4,000 that could have been used towards the family's activities.
Watch more at home and spend more days inside than outside.
Making sacrifices has become a common denominator for the Yamagata family.
To me, Dad, okay to me.
They used to really like watching Disney Channel and Nickelodeon, but they're doing well with just basic cable and PBS Kids.
Despite trying to prevent the pay cuts from hindering their children, they cannot conceal it completely.
When we go shopping, he always says, "Oh no, that one's too expensive. Yeah, Mom?" I'm like, "Yeah, we can't afford that anymore."
Recently, they enrolled their 3-year-old son, Rain, into preschool, but without help from a scholarship, Rain would be staying at home.
We've never had that situation before, and we just bought our house, and we thought we had a set income.
That set income led them to consider getting a second job to make ends meet.
It looks like this, and then we have a point.
Brent has thought of becoming a tutor or coach to pay for the remaining household expenses, but getting to work is a struggle in itself. Since he has to travel from Mililani to work, he has begun carpooling with a coworker. However, it is still pricey due to the rising fuel costs.
But I still come here every day, do my job.
And you're not even foiling, you're factoring.
Financial issues are not factors that will keep Brent and Lehua from doing their jobs. Passion is the exponent that keeps them in the classroom.
I love math, and the people I work with doesn't make it like work.
For the Yamagatas, staying positive is the solution to their negative equation.
And right now I'm glad I even have a job, because there's people who don't have jobs. I'm just happy for what I do have.
Though the salary cuts may be a complex problem, for this family, the sum of each other is the only answer to this test. Jenna Munoz from Waianae High School for HIKI No.
If you'd like to comment on this story or anything you see on HIKI, join the discussion at facebook.com/HIKI or send us a tweet at twitter.com/HIKI. In 1986, Ellison Onizuka tragically lost his life in the Space Shuttle Challenger mission. Ellison was a Konawaena graduate and the first Asian American to reach space. Today, we're in front of the Ellison S. Onizuka Gymnasium, which honors his accomplishments and reminds us of his can-do attitude.
Mother Nature definitely demands our respect. Let's take a trip to HP Baldwin High School on Maui, where they examine how a delicate ecosystem is dependent on some very hard workers.
55,000 miles to collect just 1 pound of honey, 1,500 flowers to gather just 1 speck of pollen. She works day in and day out to fulfill the quest of maintaining her hive while unintentionally balancing the ecosystem we call Earth. But now, this seemingly insignificant insect that we unknowingly depend on is disappearing.
Well, no bees, no trees, no annuals. When there's no annuals, because they're the only selective pollinating insect, all the winter blooming and the fall, winter, and spring plants won't be pollinated because there's no colonizing insects other than the bees. And as far as the habitat goes, without those early plants, then the rest of the insect life won't be able to begin the propagation. So the balance will be upset.
It is difficult to comprehend how this tiny insect's journey plays such a vital role within our ecosystem. Now, with the recent infestation of the Athena tomato, also known as the small hive beetle, the livelihood of our ecosystem has been put into jeopardy. Without the honeybee, many plants we see today will disappear.
I think the small hive beetle is a threat to the environment in Hawaii, and it's going to cost more money and time and energy to battle the small hive beetle.
Although the beetle has already affected hives on Maui, taking the proper precautionary steps can spare the population altogether.
Well, there's no pesticide you can do it because the beetle is not specific, is not host specific to the honeybee. They can live in the environment, they can live in the forest, they can live on fruits of decaying vegetation, such like all the other beetles. So there's no way of getting rid of it. Lessening the impact is, well, as far as the bee goes and the colony goes, you have to have a really, really crowded hive that is, packed with bees, and where there is no room for the beetle to get, there's enough bees in there to manage the hive to keep it clean.
The Department of Agriculture's invasive species section is taking other actions to lessen the beetle's effect.
Right now we have the plant pest control. I work for Plant Quarantine. They're doing surveys to see where they're located, and they're trying to isolate those populations and control them with certain means.
As Maui County and its farmers continue to find solutions to deter the small hive beetle from threatening the beehives, the bee will continue to maintain her hive. She will know that the thousands of miles and hundreds of flowers she traveled to shall not be in vain. This is Danielle Kalubake reporting from HP Baldwin High School for HIKI No.
Teens can make a difference. Our new feature, called Student Voices, gives teens a place to communicate their ideas, passion, and individual voices. Let's go to Molokai High School, where students voice their opinion about peer pressure.
I think peer pressure affects my decisions when people pressure me into doing things that I don't want to do.
The way I deal with peer pressure is by telling my friends no, I don't care about their negative judgment, I just rather be safe.
I do believe that most of my decisions are affected by peer pressure, but mainly just because I think I want to be with my friends. I've done a few things I'm not proud of, but I've learned when to say no.
The way I deal with peer pressure is just by telling them no, because unlike when people tell me what to do, I go at what I like.
Peer pressure affects me by making me feel like I have to be like everyone else, but I try to be myself.
Today we're watching Kea'au High's Hawaiian dance class practice their chant. Konawaena has a culture not only based on academic excellence, but on making connections to the past to better prepare students for their future. Next, we will travel to Kea'au High School, where traditional Hawaiian tools are used to make poi.
Hi, my name is Rachel Gristock. We're here at the Ke'au farm in Hakalau on the Big Island of Hawaii. Harvesting the taro means pulling it out of the ground. The leaves are saved to make laulau. Wash the taro with water until the majority of dirt is off. Then peel the outer layer of the taro off. Cut the peeled taro into 2-inch cubes. Then boil the cubes for 90 minutes from the point of boiling. Put the taro cubes into the juicer and collect the pa'iai that comes out in a bowl. Mix the pa'iai with water to make it thinner and suitable for eating. The poi is now finished. Now that's the good stuff.
Good food and good company go hand in hand. Today, Waiakea High School on the Big Island of Hawaii take us to a local restaurant in Hilo that has survived the test of time.
Many restaurants have their own secret recipes, but what's so secret about combining a steaming scoop of rice, a seared hamburger patty, a fried egg, and a ladle of gravy? Though some may find it unusual or unappetizing, fans far and wide know that few things are better than a delicious loco moco. At this small restaurant in downtown Hilo, they serve over 30 different varieties of loco mocos, including their seasonal specials.
A lot of the loco mocos have been invented by our customers. And so we just put it on the menu. They have a good idea, we put it on the menu, and it's just fun.
However popular they may be, Cafe 100 didn't create it. In fact, another restaurant started this local dish.
I believe customers that ate there came to my dad's place and said, make this dish, it's a loco moco. And so the customers actually brought it to Cafe 100.
With the help of this Hilo-originated dish, they may be thriving now, but it wasn't always this way. Richard Miyashiro, founder of Cafe 100, was not just anyone opening another restaurant.
My dad was in the Army. He was in the 100th Battalion. And after he got discharged from the Army, he decided to open a restaurant.
Cafe 100 was named in honor of the 100th Battalion in which he served. The 100th Battalion consisted mostly of Hawaii and Nisei soldiers who served during World War II and to this day remain the highest decorated unit in military history, the original menus proudly displaying their insignia on it. But only 3 months after their opening in 1946, disaster struck. An earthquake in Alaska generated a tsunami that hit Hilo, devastating the coastline and the new restaurant as well.
Well, tsunamis hit Cafe 100 twice, actually. The first time it was damaged but not destroyed, and the second time in 1960 it was totally destroyed.
After rebuilding a third time on higher ground, they are here to stay, and now they want to share their prosperity with the community that has supported them to do their best to help their customers in more ways than one.
I think we're very much community focused, and I know that my auntie gives very generously back to the community.
Cafe 100 gives back in many ways, their chili fundraisers being just one. They give back as much as they can in donations and gift certificates to be used as prizes or incentives in classrooms, fundraising events, and as well as supporting local farmers by using their produce. Even with all they've gone through, they have managed to pull through tough waters and become the successful business they are today. Instead of expanding, they wish to stay here in their town of Hilo.
We plan to be around for a long time more.
This is Brittany Rutledge from Waiakea High School for HIKI No.
If you'd like to comment on this story or anything you see on HIKI No, join the discussion at facebook.com/HikiNoCanDo or send us a tweet at twitter.com/HikiNoCanDo.
We're at the site of our new community mural entitled Take Care from the Uplands to the Sea, which was a product of the high school senior project. Our next story comes from Roosevelt High School about a young man who attained his dreams through hard work, some luck, and by participating in the high school senior project.
Our story starts with a single spark that lit a fire in a passionate man's heart. In Hawaii, senior project is becoming a more important part of high school and graduation. But surprisingly, a lot of students are still reluctant to do it. Many students see the senior project as a daunting amount of work and a nerve-wracking presentation, but they don't know the endless possibilities that can come from completing it.
Our spicy aioli and kabayaki.
Chris Lederer, a former student at Roosevelt High School, is a prime example of how senior project can affect your life even after high school. But during high school, Chris faced his share of hardships.
He had some difficulties with family and home, and he said he was living with some friends in Poa Valley. Pretty much felt like he had a new family. Coming to Roosevelt was a good opportunity for him.
Senior project is comprised of 4 parts: fieldwork, paper, portfolio, and presentation. Of course, Chris chose his topic in the culinary arts field.
I didn't think that I would gain anything more than a paper from this, but I actually ended up with the beginning of a career here at Roy's.
As a student, Chris had a passion for cooking. He helped out in the cafeteria every chance he could. When it came time to seek a mentor, Chris decided to contact Hawaii's own Chef Roy Yamaguchi.
He's the one who actually came out here after I said, hey, listen, why don't you come to my office and we'll talk and see what we can do for you. So he came out and made the effort, and he talked to me for about an hour, hour and a half, talked to me about what he wants to do in his future. He really loved to cook, and what he thought his weaknesses were or strong points, and just wanted to be in the kitchen.
After completing the required 25 hours of fieldwork, Chris was faced with the challenge of doing a presentation in front of 3 judges.
During the presentation, the athletic director raised up his sign to tell me how much more time I had, and I got scared when I was showing them my knives. And I nicked myself just a little bit, but it was hardly noticeable.
In the end, Chris's story inspires us to believe in ourselves and make our dreams a reality.
I got accepted to the Culinary Institute of America, where Chef Roy is actually alumni.
This is Tyler Waiakea from Roosevelt High School for HIKI.
Moving from the mainland can be quite shocking for many new students. I moved from Arizona 1 year ago expecting to see miles of sandy beaches and girls in coconut bikinis, but the reality was quite the opposite. Now let's go to Wheeler Middle School, where military students share their similar experiences.
DeAndre is a military dependent, like most of his classmates here at Wheeler Middle School. He has been stationed in many unfamiliar places. Each new assignment challenges him to overcome the stereotypes he has held. Hawaii wasn't any different.
Most inaccurate stereotypes I've had was that I thought everybody in Hawaii would be like surfers or big Samoans, and that everything would be based off of pineapples and turtles.
Those arriving in the islands aren't the only ones with stereotypes. Local boys like Nohili had them too.
Football's for girls, rugby's for men. Yeah.
When I first seen the military kids, the way they acted towards other people, I didn't really like it. Some military kids, yeah, they were okay.
These stereotypes can cause immediate dislike.
I first met DeAndre in 7th grade. I thought he was like any other. He was the same thing, the same military kid, like any other military kid.
This is how he is.
Taking the time to get to know someone can help change negative stereotypes.
I learned from my friend Nohili that Hawaiian people are not always laid back and lazy as people think they are. Most Hawaiian people are cool in their own special way.
He taught me how to control myself around military kids. I learned how to be better and not to use physical action. Now we're really good friends. We hang out most of the time. Well, yeah, that's our friendship at times.
2 friends who on the surface have nothing in common share one important trait. They have both managed to overcome their stereotypes, and that has made all the difference. I'm Anna Choi from Wheeler Middle School for HIKI.
Now let's head back to Molokai High School and hear from more of their students about dealing with peer pressure.
Peer pressure affects me because we all spend large amounts of time in groups regardless of their opinion. We want to fit in, so we seem to adopt those opinions in order to fit in.
When I was positively affected by peer pressure was when I jumped from a 45-foot rock into the ocean. Alone, I wouldn't have done something so scary, but with the influence of my friends, I jumped.
If peer pressure may lead me to trouble, I have the proper judgment and common sense to just say no.
Peer pressure affects me because if my friends pressure me to do good things, I'll probably do them because I know I have their support.
Peer pressure affects me because when someone tells me to do something
I told him no because no is no. Respect that.
Let's go to Lahaina Intermediate School on Maui, where fashion, fishing, and feathers have become a subject of interest, and for some, a frustration.
Believe it or not, feathers like these are the center of a hot fashion trend.
Feathers are appearing in hair all over America. There are those who feel that they add a streak of color to your hair. They come in a variety of lengths and widths, and the reasons for wearing feathers are as varied as the people wearing them.
I like feathers because I saw some of my friends had them and I thought they'd be cool and different, so I decided to get some. My first batch of feathers were blue, pink, green, white, and purple, and black. But my new set is yellow, orange, green, purple, blue, black, and white.
The best place to wear feathers in your hair is a little bit under where you part your hair. This is so the crimp bead isn't noticeable. Crimp beads are used to hold your feathers in place.
Feathers become a normal part of your hair care routine.
You can curl, straighten, or crimp your hair with feathers.
Feathered extensions can last a long time. Many hair salons now offer feathers and will put them in and take them out. Hairstylists are a great source of advice and help.
If you'd like to comment on anything you see on Hikino, join the discussion at facebook.com/HikinoCanDo or send us a tweet at twitter.com/HikinoCanDo.
We hope you enjoyed today's show on the beautiful campus of Konawaena High School for Hikino, the nation's first statewide student news network.
Join us next week on Hikino. Can do!
Broadcasts of Hikino are made possible by the support of viewers like you. Mahalo. And by Bank of Hawaii Foundation, investing in Hawaii's future by promoting collaboration, critical thinking, and other 21st century skills through Hikino.